Welcome to Pax Europiana here from Pristina, walking in the UCK street and celebrating freedom of this republic. It's liberated from Serbia and it's now 22 years and it's very good, you know. People are living in freedom here. And I wish my friends in Ukraine who are going through these terrible times that they will also achieve the same level of freedom like Kosovo has done and has achieved with the help of America, NATO and to some extent the EU, but as done as in the past, also in the case of the breakup wars of Yugoslavia, it is the EU so hesitant. Now we have the Council again this week, and when you look, the EU is again not paying enough, not delivering enough, not united enough, not supportive enough. I'm now 30 years fighting this appeasement of the Europeans and I'm very disgusted again. They're not intervening militarily, they're not giving air defense, they're not covering the airspace. It's really, as I said yesterday, I wish that Mrs. Albright and her political thinking would be still dominant, but Biden is so careful and it's very disappointing. Yes, now I heard that electricity is now cut and it's on rationing in Ukraine. In Kosovo, this was for decades the case after the war. It's possible to do it, you know, it's very inconvenient, but if it's necessary, energy rationing is a small price to pay for freedom. And obviously now the key is to liberate the people who are living under Russian suppression. Imagine the people of Kherson, they are now liberated by the Ukrainians and the Americans, and the Europeans who always say never again, these German social democrats and all these other hypocrites, they are doing nothing. While people living in torture chambers today, not 80 years ago. It's easy to regret the past. By the way, Serbia, where is your regret? I'm very annoyed. I go now to Montenegro, where I will also protest against the removal of this memorial plaque for the Serb war crimes. And Montenegro's at that time still involvement. And it's very annoying, this lack of repentance. But you know, repenting in a way is also quite simple. You can just make an apology and it doesn't cost a lot. So that's the minimum one should do after such crimes. But neither the Serbs nor the Russians do it. And that's the annoying reality in Europe 2022. And when you look at these closely connected situations of Ukraine and Kosovo, it's always misinterpreted by Mr. Putin and then Western Putinists repeat that. Obviously it's good to intervene on the side of freedom and to fight tyranny. I mean, that's quite logic. You don't need to be a big political scientist to have a moral compass and understand that what the Serbs did to Kosovo is very similar to what the Russians do now to Ukraine. And obviously there is no right of Russia to occupy any territory of Ukraine. It was internationally recognized and recognized by Russia. So now gradually, after years of campaigning, I think it is much better to liberate everything, Crimea and Eastern Donbass. Because if Russia anyhow is not for compromise and not for any settlement, and the Europeans are anyhow so reluctant to integrate Ukraine into NATO, and Kosovo by the way as well, and Bosnia, then let's simply win it militarily. And the European appeasers and the French cheerleader, Mr. Macron, who is now probably the most unpopular man in Kosovo because of his continuous resistance to allow visa liberalization for Kosovo. He's basically now a Serb lobbyist, Mr. Macron. This is how bad it has turned out. And he's not just perceived like this. Yeah? In his cabinet he has political advisors of Serb origin and they are dominating this policy. And it's ultimately him, the person responsible for all this disaster. Yeah, it's very annoying. But it's a sunny day in this beautiful republic created by NATO and secured by NATO. And I think the logic of it is full membership in NATO. Everything else is not logical for me, and I protest and I call for NATO membership of Kosovo immediately. Thanks a lot for that. More to come on the way to Tirana. Bye.